Good afternoon and welcome to live coverage of the 2025 USA Archery US Open from the Betty and Bobby Allison Sports Town in Springfield, Missouri. Brought to you by Verona Real Estate Group and DataCore Fund Services and presented by Win & Win. Well, it's been an intriguing few days of competition, starting with the Target Nationals, where national champions were crowned, national records set, and we'll finish on this Sunday afternoon with the US Open. To come, we have the gold medal matches in senior compound, Barebow and Recurve. Joining me for the afternoon action, Jack Williams, bronze medalist in Recurve men, and a quality facility here. Jack, what have been the challenges over the last few days for you guys?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the nicer venues, I think, that we've held a Target Nationals and U.S. Open at. The biggest challenges here, I'd say the first one is the heat. It is sweltering here. It's probably been averaging in the morning 85, and it gets up into the triple digits a few times. We had to cut the team round yesterday just because the heat index got too high. So definitely the heat and humidity is number one. And wind has been off and on, but right now is pretty good.
And yet the locals would tell us that a week or so ago it was a nice 85, and of course we arrive in town and it's up in the, as you say, triple digits. But it is a phenomenal facility. It really is fantastic, and the people of Springfield have rolled out the red carpet for us over the last few days. So we are almost set to get underway. And just to give you an idea of who's going to be coming thick and fast over the next few hours, Tanya Galantine and Toya Ellison will get us underway in the compound women. Jimmy Lutz against Stefan Hansen will be the gold medal match in compound men. Barebow will be Ava Jones and Ellie Howe, real young talent there. Jeremiah Jones and Nathan Shaw, Barebow men, two men from Missouri, one who's only 10 minutes down the road. Catalina Gnoriega and Alex Oleta-Visser. Alex has had a fantastic USAT season. Kat, of course, heading off to the World Championships in a few weeks. And then recurve men, Brady Ellison against Jacob Robinson. So the veteran against Jacob, who will be making his first appearance in a senior US Open gold medal match. So your thoughts on those? We've got some quality matches coming up.
Yeah, very quality shooters today that we're going to see. I know personally I've lived with Catalina and Alex and Brady. And I know all of them. I know Brady quite well. And they've all been on this stage many times. And it'll be interesting to see how Jake holds his own, as well as on the compound side. Those guys are very established in their own divisions, so it will be a very tight shooting.
And what's the key for somebody like Jake coming in against a guy like Brady? He's been there, he's done it, he's got many T-shirts to come up against. What is the key for a strong start?
Personally, after experiencing what it's like to go against Brady and take him back-to-back sets and even come out ahead a few times, like the biggest thing is just to start off strong and carry the momentum. If you give Brady a little bit of an edge, he'll definitely calm down himself. And when Brady's calm and shooting good, you don't want to mess with that. He's very good.
And it's interesting, you talk about the heat, and yet the one thing that I make the mistake of with you guys is when how you getting on? Oh, yeah, it's a bit warm. Could be a little bit more of a breeze, and you guys give me that scowl. We don't want a breeze, but the heat, is there a balance between, look, it was hot, but we could have done with a little bit of a cooling breeze, and you didn't get that this week. So will the archers want a little bit of a breeze for the cooling effect? Or, I mean, again, I know you guys don't like any kind of movement in the air, but with the heat, can that...
I would agree a little bit of a breeze is good, but we also say, the wind makes the difference between the men and the boys. Mm-hmm. It is a really big game changer. If you can handle the wind, you're going to love the wind. And if you struggle with aiming off and struggle executing in the wind, it's going to punish you really hard. So that's one of the factors we face with here.
Well, we're just about to get the first two athletes into the arena. And interesting who we see in the corner for these two, the coach's box for these two archers. And they will be familiar faces indeed, because it is Mr. Galantine and Mr. Ellison in the corner for Tanya and Toya. Tanya Galantine ranked number 1. Toya ranked number 15, but two vastly experienced athletes here.
Yeah, all four of the people out there right now, Brady, Braden, Tanya, and Toya, they've all been on countless World Championships, World Cup finals, World Cups. They've been on top stages before, so I bet there's very few nerves going on out there.
So there we see Braden in the background, of course. So taking a little bit of a step back from USATs, but this is one of those rare occasions that we get to see him and still a quality archer, but he's in the coach's box for his wife Tanya Brady, who will be appearing at the very end in the recurve men gold medal match against Jake Robinson. He is stood behind Toya, and we get underway. This, of course, compound, 50 metres, cumulative score. And it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? What is as a husband and wife duo? I imagine it's what is that conversation like?
Definitely the husband and wife duo. I think all four of them feed off of each other. You know, they can all compete against each other on the daily, and having people that you can compete against competitively, like it will push you day to day. And all four of them have improved, I think, because of that and having that good balance. You see, Toya starting off a little low, but Tanya seems to be pretty good height, just playing off that wind a little bit. Like you were saying about the cumulative, do you want to take us through the different match formats between the different divisions?
Well, of course, yeah. We've got 50 metres cumulative score for compound. Barebow will be, again, 50 metres, but that is the set system, similar to recurve. And then recurve, we will have a little bit of a gap between the end of Barebow division and recurve as we push the targets back to 70 metres. And as you talk to, between Barebow, compound and then recurve, how much is that with the conditions? How much is that additional 20 metres? How much can the wind and the weather become a factor in just the longer distance and just that greater opportunity for there to be a little bit of interference with the arrow?
Yeah, definitely the further 20 meters makes a huge difference. All the divisions are very different amongst themselves. You can see the compounders are even on a smaller target face at 50. Obviously, their bows are much faster than the recurves or barebows and far more accurate. So you see much higher level scores, even though it's at the smaller target face. But that extra 20 meters for the Olympic recurve that I shoot myself, the wind is definitely a bigger factor. The speed difference between barebow and recurve isn't as dramatic, I would say, as Olympic and compound. So it's all part of the knowledge and the expertise that you carry, and what will make a novice archer separated from somebody who's been on these stages, knows how to read all these flags. Me, myself, I'm constantly looking around at everything I possibly can take in the wind to just have a little bit more data to make my prediction and make a good shot against that.
And I say this often, depending on who's alongside, I may get a different answer, but is there a certain... clearly, you've got the windsock, but you've got these feather banners, which are a little bit more lively. What do you take your guidance from? Is it ultimately the windsock? Is that what you will take your guidance from?
So windsock at most fields is very consistent. It's a consistent size, consistent fabric. The weight of it's relatively consistent to where we can read it. I know, based on what a flag looks like, kind of where I should aim. More flags and more banners like this, our sponsor banners, it makes a difference because they could look like they're whipping around at 1 mile an hour wind. So you got to kind of recalibrate your brain based on what you're looking at.
I remember, I think it was Arizona Cup last year. The wind picked up just phenomenally, and you still landed it in the 10. And I remember George Tekmachov was on the mic that day, and there was like a gasp from him. And I think it was maybe Justin Hewish, of course, double Olympic gold medalist in '96. Both amazed. Were you mindful out there? I mean, did you know how good a shot that was as soon as it left the bow? Bearing in mind the conditions, because it was a sudden gust, wasn't it?
It was. It was such a gust that, I was at full draw and I heard the entire media table here pick up. And if you watch the stream back again, the stream even shudders. Like the signal got cut by the wind. It was that heavy of a gust, and that is the single furthest gust I've ever shot in. I aimed off of the target for it.
Really?
I did. And something like that, you have to fall back on your training.
Tell me, how quick is that decision? Because that was a quick gust. You've had to adjust very, very quickly.
Yes. So, you have to adjust on the spot. And these archers, they only have 20 seconds to shoot. And if you don't shoot in that 20 seconds, it's a miss. And a miss is worse than, a 5 or something from you getting it wrong. So there's definitely a balance between playing it safe, the pro side we call it, and the amateur side, against the wind. So if you're playing it pro side, I aimed literally off the target because I knew it will drift at least 5-6 rings, and okay, I aim off too much, and now I shot a left 6.
What was that decision timing like? Because I'm intrigued by this because you didn't know the gust was coming, but as soon as it hit, you had to make that very, very quick adjustment. What was the time between you feeling that wind change and making that adjustment and releasing?
I would say seconds, because I was at full draw in this case, and a gust like that could happen to any of these archers at any time. We kind of prepare for that. You brace into your shot, and I got kicked hard, and my sight wasn't even on the target anymore. So I had to take a couple seconds to just reset physically aiming, because I was aiming feet to the right now, and push against that and just pick a spot and go is what we say, and hope your spot is good.
And it was. On that occasion, it was very, very good. So 2 points the difference after 2 ends, with Tanya just 2 up on Toya, but
Toya definitely seems dialed in now. It took her a little bit, but
and we talk about 2 points after 2 ends is not a lot. That can turn around pretty quickly, and so as you say, Toya is dialed in.
9.
Yeah, so there's 1 point now, like just you said.
1 point.
One arrow is all it takes to get hit by that wind, and
9.
so even scores on those arrows. So Tanya just let down, so you can see. Oh,
There's a little clock
clock failure there. So
discrepancy there.
Tanya rose up before the clock, so that wasn't her letting down on purpose. Longer hold here.
9.
Just to put a bit of pressure on here from Tanya.
9.
28 from her 3 arrows for
Triple
Toya
9.
Ellison. And there we see the difference is now down to 1 point after 3 ends.
Toya grabbed one of those points back, so with a couple ends to go, we have a 1 point game, and it can definitely change in a heartbeat. 1 arrow.
Massive month coming up for USA Archers. The World Youth Championships starts in Winnipeg, Canada this coming week. A really strong team heading to Canada, and it's just an indicator as to the depth, the strength and depth of the USA Archers, and just how deep that talent pool goes. And then, of course, you guys head to Korea next month for the World Archery Championships, and there's the World Archery Para Championships at the end of September. Both of those in Gwangju in Korea. What does your calendar look like between now and then?
So myself, I'm done now for the year. The World Championship for the men is Brady, who you see up there.
Of course,
now.
Trenton and Christian.
And Christian, yeah. And then the youth, I aged out of that a long time ago, but those were some of my first tournaments. So definitely the people that are going to those Youth World Championships are the next generation, people that watch, maybe going into 28, definitely going into 2032, like in Sydney. That is the group that you look for at those games.
So what does your off season look like? How much do you, because you can't just walk away, or do you? Do you put the bow away for a couple of weeks and say, right, I'm not going to look at it, I'm not going to pick it up, or have you got to keep on top of it a little bit?
We definitely do have to keep on top of our skills. There's the indoor season and the outdoor season. So currently we're shooting outdoor archery, and then indoor shifts around November, December is when it really kicks off, and then we continue the indoor season well into, I would say, January, February, and then it starts to taper off before typically we would go back to Arizona Cup, but that's changed around this year. So I would say in between each one of those seasons, you take a couple weeks here and there, but the grind doesn't stop. You definitely got to stay on top of your fitness, really make sure that you're setting yourself up for next year, because in between tournaments, sometimes we're going back to back. Like Christian himself, he's in the Youth World Championship, so he is home for a day, if that. He might have decided to fly straight there.
9.
Well, that's made it interesting. That 8 in the middle there for Tanya. And we are 1-1-3, 1-1-3 heading into the 5th and final end between these vastly experienced archers. And Braden chatting to Tanya. Toya, I'm trying to see if there's any kind of conversation. Not sure.
Yeah,
Between Brady and Toya. I think they...
in these moments like this, you just, you know, as a coach in the box and an athlete, what you expect, you know, it's hand me a water bottle, say good strong shots. You know, if you notice something here and there, like it's time to, hey, you moved your head, hey, make sure you keep your timing up, stuff like that, but you're not here changing your technique. So these coaches are more focused around level-headedness and just executing a good shot. Whatever shot you're doing right now, that's what you've got. You've got 3 more arrows, make them count. And let's just close the door.
Well, we're heading into the final end then. 3 arrows apiece, of course. If they are level at the end of the 5th end, we will go into a 1-arrow shoot-off. Don't forget, we've got more compound to come. Stefan Hansen against Jimmy Lutz. That's a really strong gold medal match, but there was a really strong compound division here this week. Ava Jones and Ellie Howe will be Barebow women. We then go to 2 locals, Jeremiah Jones and Nathan Shaw. Barebow men into the recurve, Catalina Gnoriega and Alex Uleta-Visser. Finally, Brady Ellison and Jake Robinson will wrap things up from the US Open here in Springfield, Missouri. But we are in match number 1, end number 5.
9.
Starting with a 9 for Tanya. So let's see what Toya responds with.
She can capitalize on that. Yep. She takes back 1 more.
X.
Well, having been trailing, Toya now has taken the lead.
Just off the other side, you can tell in that target face, you can see the left and rights. You know, that the holes in the target are like a history of what has happened.
X.
Toya goes up again. Tanya really needs a 10 here to apply some good pressure, but... Ooh.
9.
999 again.
So 8 or more.
Comfortable here. Yeah, 10 to finish, and Toya gets it.
3 X's to finish. Couldn't do any better. Toya Ellison is the US Open champion for 2025 in compound women. A hug from husband Brady, who we'll see a little bit later. And the 2 athletes embrace. All of those familiar with one another. A little bit of a turnaround. As we said very early on, that 2-point difference after 2 ends could change very, very quickly, and it did.
Yep.
Did anything change with the conditions? What could you see changing out there with the 2 archers' approach?
I could tell by the end Toya really settled into her shot, and you know you can see that in the scores. Toya started off a little shaky. She's been. Both these groups are fresh parents. They both have little kids of their own, so I think both of these, you know, strong ladies have been really on kid mode a lot. And so there's been, Toya's been out of it for a little bit, full-time mom, and so I think once those jitters settled back down and went into the Toya who knows what she's doing, like it really dialed in with that 3X finish.
And it was interesting because I remember talking to Toya, and I think it was maybe at Arizona Cup a couple of years ago, and I believe this was when their eldest was obviously a couple of years younger, and when she's on the line, she could hear, and it was maybe that cry, and it's that mother's instinct of knowing, okay, they want feeding, or they want this, or they want that, and there is that pull, and she says, you know, she's trying to have to block that out. You block out so much as an archer on the line, but I imagine as a mother, hearing your child in distress or a level of distress can be a different kind of distraction. So as the kids get a little bit older, the mischief begins. So that's what she'll be hearing in the background, I imagine, from now on. But a great win, great comeback for Toya there, and a great silver for Tanya Galantine.
It's in 10 years when you start hearing the kids' names on these stages, then it's like,
oh
okay.
yeah, that's you're showing your age there. Yeah, well, we've got another great gold medal match here. The compound men, Stefan Hansen and James Lutz, Jimmy Lutz, who will...
on target 1, Stefan Hansen.
There we hear. He's on Stefan is on target number 1. Jimmy is on target number 2. And again, you've got familiar faces It's a husband and wife team for Jimmy, and Sawyer Sullivan is behind Stefan Hansen in the coach's box there.
Yeah, again, it's not really important that you have an actual coach that's going to fix your technique. It's just comfort. And for them, it's who's your buddy that's around. You know, who's going to make you feel the most calm. Jimmy's up first. See if Jimmy can apply some good pressure here.
The breeze has died a little bit. That windsock is not misbehaving as much as it was.
10.
Yeah, both of these guys have shot perfect 150s, so yeah, both of them starting off strong. They're going to settle down really good, these guys.
Jimmy Lutz had an incredible World Cup final last year, didn't he?
Yes.
3 matches, 150 in each of those.
Yeah.
Outstanding work. And when you think of the depth, I mean across the board, but the depth of the compound division internationally, you look at the likes of Matthias and obviously Mike.
Yep. It's a very strong pool, and with the guys especially, any one of them can shoot a 150 at any time.
10.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see both these guys drop only 1 or 2 points at most. Even possibly a 150 shoot off for both.
Wow.
That would be very impressive, and it looks like we're already on our way to that.
Goodness me. Yeah, we are on a roll.
Yeah,
well,
this
solid
division,
start, I think it's safe to say.
This division in particular is a division of perfection. I mean, the world record is, I believe it's a 13x 150, so they've only missed that center X ring. Not that it makes a difference in score, but just a little bonus, brownie point, but a little extra mark of excellence, and it's almost perfect in that tiny circle.
I'm just going back to see if either of them have got a 150 today in eliminations, and 148. Look at I'm trying to see where Jimmy. 149.
Yeah, getting close.
That was against Rio Wild, of course, was here this week. A well-known name, former world #1, and many accolades and awards to his name. Semi-finals. Let's go all the way to another 149 for Jimmy in the semi-finals against Jacob Miller. Sawyer Sullivan was the defeated semi-finalist. And Sawyer picking up the bronze medal in the compound men division. And a perfect start for these two guys. Have you ever dabbled at compound?
I have dabbled in compound quite a bit, mainly just for fun. A free time type of thing. When I'm done with my arrow count for the day of recurve, I'll maybe dabble and shoot. Definitely not at these guys' levels, but I hang in there. I shot NFAA Nationals, which is a very big compound tournament, because I was there for recurve, and I'm like, I'll stick around an extra day and shoot compound, and I actually took 17th overall in the big boy division. So
okay,
I can hold my own.
Not bad.
But the perfection game it's a different world here.
10.
Well, they started where they left off. Well, certainly Jimmy has.
Yeah, these guys, especially at indoor, not that the level's any
10.
worse outdoors, but you get those conditions indoors. These guys will shoot absolutely perfect. They shoot indoors. Every single one of their arrows will be within the size of about a penny, and it's just absurd level of shooting. And you miss the penny, even if you don't miss the penny, you can go home on a shoot off. Ooh.
9.
Well, they are
First
human.
crack here. Can Jimmy capitalize? I remember being on the World Cup team when Jimmy first made his debut. He made every single medal match of every single tournament he was in for the year and did not drop a single point. All of his medal matches he cleaned. That was a very impressive year. That includes World Championship year. He went into the World Championships and every match he cleaned it.
Wow. So, Jimmy continues. Perfect score there. 60 plays 59, but Stefan finishing with an X there. 9 with his second arrow.
Yeah, so these guys are shooting a compound bow, and the compound division has magnified sights and release aids that you may see there. That adds to their level of precision, but that's what also makes this division that much harder, because the perfection is part of the sport. And so all these aids add to that pressure, because these guys stepped out on this stage knowing they need a 150 to possibly hang.
Well, and that's the thing. You you can get a 149 in this at this level. 1 point dropped across 5 ends could be the difference between gold and silver.
Yes, absolutely. It could be, Jimmy could drop one and then we're even, or at this point, like with, especially in the men's division, like it could be over for Stefan already.
And just apologies if you are hearing a crackle on the microphones. We are trying to address it. We can hear it. We're hoping it's not coming through at your end, but our apologies if that is the case. So 2 perfect ends from Jimmy. Stefan trailing by just the 1 point, but as we saw with the compound women, there was a 2-point swing in that one, with Toya eventually winning by 3 points, 143 to 140. The bronze going to Sydney Sullenberger, who'll be heading to the World Championships next month. A World Youth gold medalist 2 years ago in Ireland. Stefan will get end number 3 underway.
10,
Back in the zone.
There was an interesting concept that World Archery tested out this year, and that's with that inner X ring that you can see there that Jimmy just got. That was worth 11 this year for the first ever time for outdoor competition, and
X,
made a big difference in their mentalities, I think. That was very interesting to see, so we'll see if that ends up sticking. Because you can see,
X,
even though it's only 1 point total that Stefan's down, you just see the difference in the X's. Jimmy seeming to be far more dialed than Stefan, so we'll see if Jimmy can keep that going.
And there's, well, even between the two of them, there's not a great deal of emotion. It is just, as you guys say, it's just you trust the process.
Yep, mental process is a big aspect to archery. Your technique is one thing, but ooh,
9,
big 9. You see, he did not like that shot when he let it go. So we're all tied up now.
Okay, there we go. Just the 1 point. And he's having another look and a shake of the head from Jimmy. We're all square after 3 ends.
Yeah, going back to that mental process being a huge part of archery, like, you can have the best equipment, you can have the best coaches, and relatively the best technique, for your individual execution. But if as soon as the judge says this is for score, if all that goes out the window, you're gonna end up struggling. And these guys have definitely perfected over the years how to step onto any size stage worth any amount of money and execute their shot process.
And there are distractions. And look, you make of what it is. You can be distracted by what you're distracted by. But there's music, there's chatter, there's the conditions, there's how are you blocking out all of that? Because it could be a car leaving the parking lot that screeches or honks a horn or something. What are your techniques to block all of that out?
So something that I always focus on is the steps that I know if I hit these steps, that will get me to shoot a good shot. So if I transfer into my back and I'm holding with my back tension and I transfer into my hands, I focus on the execution. For me, I'm at such a level to where I know it'll at least hit gold most of the time. And so when you can rely on that aspect, you can, depending on, what's needed at the time, I know I needed for me personally today, I needed a 10 to finish out the bronze medal match. And I was able to just sit back, let the sight float in the right spot, execute my shot, focus on that one aspect and just finish because I knew it would hit a 10. And that's something that you really can rely on once you build that foundation.
Well, we're back all square at the end of 3, and these two have just started with an X apiece to start end number 4.
That might be out.
Yeah, just on the line. A shake of the head again from Jimmy.
All you have to do in archery is touch the line. You don't have to break it. You don't have to be into the color of the next ring. You just have to touch the outer bit of that black line, and it will be scored as the higher value. So that's when the judges, even though it's an individual sport, there are still judges who can have a say in some stuff, and that's when the judge will step in and make those calls if it actually, in fact, did hit the line or not.
Well, they put it down as a 9, but they did call it as a 9-10 liner. Stefan Hansen cleans up with a maximum 30 there from end number 4. So as things stand, 119 to 118 in favour of Stefan Hansen. We'll see what the judges score, whether they can see that one is touching the line or not. That would bring us all level going into the 5th and final end.
Yeah, we can see it's also just on that left side, so it could have been a wavery shot a little bit, or, you know, sometimes you pick your spot, you look at the flags, like we were talking about earlier, you know, what do you use? Jimmy very well could have just went up there and said, I need to aim left 10 line, and just happened to be the wrong call, and just barely missed on that, what we would call the pro side in this situation. But in this division particularly, you can't be wrong. It's a different animal.
And that is the margins, isn't it? At this level, at the level that you guys are shooting at, the margins are so fine.
Yeah, it's, I mean, as we've already seen, it's 1 or 2 points here and there that will make the difference between winning and losing.
So they're turning the scores over. Let's see what they've decided.
It would appear that they called it out. Yeah, Stefan is now up.
Well, and maybe Jimmy's reaction, because he did look through the scope and just had a shake of the head. So maybe he just, and I wasn't sure whether he just wasn't happy with the shot, but it had gone in, or he knew that it had gone out, and that was why we saw his reaction. But I think obviously it was the latter. It's landed the wrong side of the line and called as a 9.
Yeah.
So 1 point the difference going into the 5th and final end. Stefan Hansen leading by 1.
These guys definitely know when it's, they know exactly where it's going to hit. Jimmy knew the second that button fired, that is going to be close. And he just got a little unlucky on that one. That was barely out, but he knew it was going left.
I suspect he's probably going to need a maximum here.
Yeah,
And hope that Stefan slips up.
Yeah, when you're in a position like this going into the last end, all you can hope for is the other guy to mess up at this point. You know, as the guy up, you sit back and go, I need a 30 here, and I'm done. Like, I have a job to do, and these guys are very good at doing it. But Jimmy's now thinking, I must shoot a 30 and hope that Stefan drops. And Stefan's thinking, I just don't drop and I win.
And as we say that,
Yep, there's the drop. So if Jimmy can apply a 30 here, that's what he needs. Ooh, tall.
a 9.
So Stefan,
A 10 will
10
win
to
it.
win, 9 will tie, and we go to a shoot off. There's the 9.
There's your shoot off then. There's your shoot off. They both kind of kept the door open for one another. Neither took the opportunity, and so we will go to a 1 arrow shoot off.
I think both these guys started thinking about what I need here. You know, they obviously know the score. They're counting in their head. There's no way you get away from the score. And Jimmy knew he needed a 10 to apply pressure and shot a 9. And so Stefan knew if I shoot a 10, it'll close the door. And that little mental shift is all it takes to be just a 9 in these divisions.
And again, how much of that is a calculated assessment, or can it allow additional pressure to creep in? In other words, you're doing the math in your head, but do you really want to add that pressure, knowing that you're almost trying to over-calculate it? Trust the process, play your shot, and what will be, what will be. Or you overthinking, you're doing the math in your head, and as you say, you maybe push it a little bit too hard.
You can definitely push a little too hard and get a little distracted. You know, we all know what we need to do. Some of us, you know, sit there on between ends and we look, and, you know, especially during qualifying, we're looking like, okay, I shot a good end. Did I climb up? I shot a bad end. How much did I drop, or did I drop at all? And so we're calculating kind of a healthy balance, you'd hope. Some
Right.
people crumble under that pressure and they try to imagine, oh, it's not important, it doesn't matter. But deep down, it does matter. It always will. You can't get away from that. So being able to be healthy about the pressure and apply it in a healthy, confident manner to push you to excellence instead of crumbling under the pressure is what makes these guys professional athletes.
They're just resetting the target. So 2 new target faces, and then we'll see who is closest to the middle. The first shoot-off of the afternoon. We thought we may have got one for compound women, but that went the way of Toya Ellison in the end, the number 15 seed. 143 to 140 against Tanya Galantine. And as I say, Sydney Sullenberger with the bronze medal beating Catalin Boardwell, 146, 142.
So this is something that I guarantee both these guys have caught. The wind has shifted entirely. Right now it's kind of died down in between the end and the last end. The wind was picking up, and that's why Stefan missed left, was that wind shift. So we'll see if they'll aim middle right now or if they're going to have something in the sight. That is not a good way to apply pressure in one arrow shoot-off in the compound men's division.
So it's the 1 arrow shoot-off. Jimmy with a 9.
Another
They're
9.
not too far
They're
away, those two.
not far off. They are close. You can see Stefan immediately looking at it, but
Shake
I
of the
think
hand.
it is Stefan at this case.
Well, it's a shake of the hand from the two. Looks like Jimmy conceded because Stefan also had a shake of the head as well. Was that a shake of the head if I kind of got out of jail there?
A little bit. These guys, you know, they're expecting perfection, and the last thing you want to do is have a 9-9 shoot off, and it's just, you know, you take it, thank you, but I did not deserve that, is what they're thinking. Like, it's a lucky thing at them.
Well,
they're thinking.
It's difficult to read the body language there. I believe it is Stefan Hansen.
Yes.
Yes.
It was about half a shaft. So there is an instance where they'll take out the calipers and they will measure, and if it's within a margin of, I believe, 1 millimeter, they will reshoot it.
Is Stefan Hansen.
And there we have confirmation. Stefan Hansen with the gold, Jimmy Lutz with the silver, and the bronze to Sawyer Sullivan, who's also in the frame there. He was behind Stefan Hansen on that occasion. So we'll be staying at 50 metres for Barebow. That'll be coming up shortly. Ava Jones and Elizabeth Howe. But just time to tell you about the Virtual Symposium. 13 sessions making up the USA Archery Virtual Symposium for 2025. And you still have time to register. All sessions are recorded and they're available to those who register. So even if you register now, you get access to all of those recordings before now. You can catch up with all of those when you sign up. This year's Virtual Symposium brings in experts that will help in so many levels and across so many different sports, whether coaching or competing. You get more details at usarchery.org. So we are getting ready for the Barebow gold medal match. It is Ava Jones who will be on target number 1, Ellie Howe, 2 teenagers, and 2 fantastic talents. And I've got to say that Ellie Howe got to this stage with a very, very narrow win against Cindy Zacco, who of course had a phenomenal 2024 across the USAT series. But winning with a 1 arrow shoot off, and she nailed the X, did Ellie, with that 1 arrow. So she's going to be in hot form coming into this one. But Ava Jones, who was the number 1 seed, Ellie Howe, the number 2 seed. So I think this is the only one we have. No, Jimmy and Stefan were 1 and 2. So this is another 1-2 seed between the top 2 in the Barebow women's division. 50 metres, and we'll see them entering the arena very, very soon. So you've tried compound. Have you tried Barebow?
Barebow is such an interesting division in itself. You know, obviously I started off relatively Barebow. I don't think most recurvers go and buy a full kit out the door. They'll start Barebow and, you know, realize, oh, I kind of like archery, and then build upon their kit with, you know, a sight and stabilizers and a clicker, and they'll move on from there. It's different. It's a very different animal. One thing that we'll see these Barebows do is called crawling, and you'll see they'll put their finger tab underneath the knock, and then they'll have a little mark on their finger tab of where they need to move down, and they'll move their full hand down on the string, so they're anchoring in a different position based on the distance. And then they aim with the point of the arrow, because they don't have a sight or a clicker to aim with. So it's just a very different technique. They also shoot 3 fingers together instead of one finger above and 2 fingers below, as the Olympic recurve does. Yeah, you'll see that coming up with the crawling. These two also are shooting set system now, a little different than compound. Set system is the best to 6 points. 2 points for the winner, 1 point if they tie, and every end it resets. So you kind of get to stabilizers, so the aiming is very different. But at the bottom line, it's still the same. It's an execution of the shot. It's going through your technique, going through your shot process, whatever it may be, and just trying to make the best shot possible.
9.
Just to give you a sense of their progress, Ava Jones beating Mary Dawson in the 1/8 round, 6-0. Quarterfinal 6-4 against Chiara Candelaria. Semi-finals beating Elizabeth Elizondo 6-0. And that brings her to this gold medal match against Ellie Howe. For Ellie, number 2 seed. 6-0 against Shen Langguan. In the quarterfinals, that was a win against Maggie Brensinger, who was the national champion last year, the 7th seed this year. That was a 7-3 win. Semi-finals 6-5. That shootout win against Cindy Zacco, hitting the X. So there's Ellie under the umbrella with her mum alongside. Fantastic story for Ellie. Used to drive a couple of hours round trip to a local what was local to her, archery range. And in conversations a couple of years ago, thinking, well, you know, maybe something can be done to get something closer. Well, if nobody else is going to do it, then I will. And that's exactly what she did as a 15-year-old. She's only 17 now, and picked it up and got petitions and spoke to local councillors and politicians and raised funds and raised awareness, and was there as the ribbon was cut in May for this new range just a few miles from her house, and was delighted to see so many new archers and so many people that had put archery to one side because there just wasn't the access. And so as a teenager still, a fantastic legacy at such a young age. So a passionate, intelligent, articulate young lady is Ellie Howe, and Ava Jones is another huge talent as well in the Barebow division.
9.
That is something that's great to hear. You know, our whole sport kind of has been helped very greatly by the legacy of Jim Easton and the Easton Foundation, one of our very generous sponsors and a huge name to our sport. They have really done a lot of work improving the centers around the world, fields around the world. It's great to see, you know, a new generation taking on the effort to build the sport up.
2-0 lead, taking the first set did Ellie Howe, and an 8 to finish for both of them. The umbrella goes up, and
it's important to stay out of the heat here. That finals field is in direct sun, and it wears on you over time. We've been out on this field. We started competition today at 8, so I would bet most of the people here were kind of getting out of their cars around 7:30, I would say, to set up, and we're now, you know, pushing on 3 o'clock. So we're going on 5 or 6 hours is a full day in the sun. It's exhausting. So a little bit of shade here and there, it really helps.
26-22, so 4-0 lead now for Ellie Howe. From California, Ava Jones from Kentucky. Two of them as part of the Indoor Nationals final earlier this year. And again, both of them still teenagers. Great talents, and you know, you look across all the divisions. Your recurve division, we talk about compound and barebow as well. There's such a phenomenal depth now, and it's only going to get more intense as we creep ever closer to LA 2028.
Yes, the LA 2028 is going to be a very exciting year for the U.S. team. You know, we're guaranteed Olympic spots. Compound now also being in the Olympics, so we're guaranteed that mixed team spot there. We're going to have 4 guys and 4 girls as part of the Olympic team. That's actually what I'm still going for, and a lot of the other senior division is rooting for that LA 28 team. So towards the end of 2027 is when we'll start our trials process, and that's when, you know, it really gets real for the year, and that's what really matters. The last couple of years have kind of been intermediate years between the Paris 24 Olympics and then the LA 28 Olympics. A little letdown here. Still has 4 seconds, 3 seconds.
This could be problems for Ava Jones.
Nope.
No.
That would be a miss, and more than likely, I
That
would
will
say
be the match.
it's over, unfortunately.
Ava started with a 10.
That's her. Yep.
9.
A 9.
10-9. That would have been a very respectable score in there, but that miss just basically needs to hit the target at this point to seal it. Yep.
10.
That's it. That's
There
a
we
good
go.
10 to
Ellie
finish.
Howe. And I know these archers know each other very, very well. And look, Ellie will take the win. She'll take the goal, but I suspect she'll also be feeling for Ava Jones, who you can see from her body language there is mightily disappointed. And she let down twice. It seemed to me that she was struggling to get the arrow in place. It just didn't seem to want to take. I'm not sure what the problem was, but
Yeah, it could be anything from little jitters or something, and you're doing something that just, you know, messes up a little bit, and then it flicks the arrow off, and then you try to reset, but now you're rushing because you're short on the time, and then because you're rushing, you mess up again, and you just run out of time. It happens to the best of us. Occasionally, just stuff happens, but you know, it's frustrating to lose that way. I've been in that.
and I mean we're sat here. It's a little
It's
sweaty as
it's
well.
sweaty.
The palms, you know, again gets that could be a factor that your grip is not quite as it should be.
Yep. If you set your hand a little wrong and you try to rush a shot because you're tight on time, and then it goes on from there.
So there we have gold medal, the US Open champion Ellie Howe. Ava Jones will take silver, and the bronze, as we say, went to Cindy Zacco a little earlier in the day. So that is Barebow women. We are halfway through the gold medal matches here from Springfield, Missouri. And if you were with us towards the end of the week, you'll have seen that we will be back here next year at the Betty and Bobby Allison Sports Town. And it's ideally situated, about literally 5 minutes from where we are, directly to the airport. So the transport hub is very, very convenient, in and out. And we find ourselves looking now at the Barebow men. And these two, I'm not sure, I'd be intrigued to see if they're familiar with this facility. I'm not sure they'll have maybe shot here because it's set up for soccer most of the time, but one lives 10 minutes away, the other's about 45 minutes away.
Yeah, I would bet neither one of them have shot on this field in particular. They probably don't hold their state level tournaments here. It'd be a big field to rent out, but definitely nonetheless hometown advantage, you'd say.
Our next match is our Barebow men. Please welcome our line judge and coaches to the field.
Being called to the middle.
And now please welcome our athletes.
Matt Yacker is in the corner for,
Shooting first.
looks like
and on target 2, Nathan Shaw. On target 1, Jeremiah.
Oh, something just cut out.
there we go.
There we go.
Jones.
Jeremiah Jones.
So I think they're
There
just
he
figuring
is.
out who's standing where.
Yep.
Eugene Lynn.
Now that breeze is picking up. You can probably hear on the microphone.
Yeah, the breeze is a completely different direction than Toya and Tanya's match.
Nathan Shaw getting us underway with an 8.
All day shooting has primarily been from the left to right, and now just in the matter of a few minutes it goes right to left. It's not as big of a difference for Barebow because they don't have a sight, but that for the Olympic and compound division definitely makes a big difference if you've accidentally been moving your sight right or left to accommodate for the wind, and then that wind shifts on you. It can be a huge game changer. that you get really lost with your sight really quickly.
Nathan Shaw starting with 8, 8, 10. So a really solid start for the man who's about 10 minutes away.
X.
That is some stout shooting off the bat here.
Sorry, starting with 26, 26, 27. So 2 points for Jeremiah, 8, 8, 10, 9, 8, X. So 2-0 up for Jeremiah Jones. Nathan Shaw, was chatting to him beforehand. He said, yeah, this is his debut at the Target Nationals and US Open. This, of course, the US Open portion. But travels the country competing in events and says, yeah, maybe there is a factor. Sleeping in your own bed and just being 10 minutes down the road and having the home comforts, and that may explain his performance this week. Because again, the Barebow division, the men's division, very, very strong. One of them out there, Matt Yacker, is in Jeremiah's corner.
Yeah, Matt Yacker is one of the Barebow pros on the circuit. He's gone to a lot of tournaments over the years, and he's definitely very well accomplished himself. So it's definitely a comfort to have someone of his stature in the box behind you, telling you kind of another opinion on the wind and stuff. Somebody just like, hey, look out, we got this. And then somebody just who's been on that stage.
Getting underway for end number 2. Jeremiah leading by 2 points, 2-0 after that first set. So Nathan will get us underway. Finish strong, 8, 8, and then finish with a 10.
9.
Not a bad start.
That is
It's a quick release, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a very quick release.
That's one thing with Barebow, is a far more instinctual form of shooting. You can kind of finesse it a little bit with your aiming and your crawling like these people do, but it's more of a, if it feels good, let it go, because the timing will
9.
be more consistent and you'll be less likely to mess up the shot. These guys are picking their spot, and as soon as that the arrow hits where they think it should be, they're letting it go. No need to fiddle with it.
25 for Nathan.
10.
And 29
9.
for Jeremiah. So he takes a 4-0 lead.
That is.
I mean, at this level, if you're Nathan, you're shooting 8, 8, 10, 9, 8, 8. There's some solid scores from a Barebow standpoint, but still, Jeremiah coming in with 9, 8, X, and then continues with X, 9, 10. So very much the man in the zone, and the scoreline reflects that, 4-0 up. And we talk about some of the big names overcome. Brian Way, Spanky Brooks, another one that Jeremiah beat 6-2 in the quarterfinals. And Brian Way was defeated by Nathan 6-0, with Nathan finishing with a 30, end number 3. But he's got some work to do in this match. This is the number 4 seed in Jeremiah, and the number 6 seed in Nathan Shaw. I think Spanky Brooks was a silver medalist at the Arizona Cup earlier this year. Marcus Cooley is a USAT winner. He got through to the quarterfinals, did Marcus Cooley. Semi-finals, should I say. Knocked out in the semi-finals by Jeremiah Jones, and the bronze medal going to Kelly Miller, beating Marcus 6-0. So Nathan once again getting us underway in this third set, trailing by 4-0. Starts with a 9.
9.
Steady from Nathan, but might have to do something a little special.
8.
Oh, there's an 8. So Jeremiah has just opened the door a little.
9.
steady, 27.
So a 10 to tie here, which is very doable. Oh, he gets it.
10.
Wow. That is, you can see them laughing about
Yeah.
it. This is
Yeah.
not typically something you see in the Barebow men's division where you can confidently apply pressure on a 10 like that. And this is phenomenal shooting going on right now.
Well, he's competed in one Target Nationals and US Open before, has Jeremiah. That was in Malvern 2 years ago. So he's not a frequent visitor to this event. And as I say, Nathan making his debut. Two local guys, so I suspect the conditions will be something they're used to.
Yeah, they're definitely well practiced in the wind if this is what they're used to on a day-to-day, and the heat and the humidity. These are things that they're definitely used to.
So 5-1 the score. We go into end number 4. (27-27). Jeremiah has been absolutely top-notch. 27, 29, 27 his scores. Nathan 26, 25, 27. Nathan Shaw will get us underway for end number 4.
9. 9.
I mean, Nathan has not got a long hold, but Jeremiah's is impressively quick.
It is. You could tell as soon as he gets back settled and it feels good, he's letting it go.
There. I mean, look at that.
Yep.
10.
So there's about 12 seconds left on the clock for Nathan. 15.
It is 3 seconds faster.
Jake, what are your thoughts? And again, two archers coming up in Catalina and Alex that will know each other very, very well, and obviously have had fantastic 2025s.
Yes, all 4 of these athletes coming up have either in the past or currently are athletes that are a part of the USA Archery programs. Alex and Catalina especially has been training out in Chula Vista very recently. Catalina herself has moved on to Texas A&M as well, but she definitely frequents Chula Vista where I live as well to train with our Olympic head coach.
And we are back. We had a temporary delay. We talked about the heat, and the heat even gets to the equipment and can cause equipment to overheat. But we're overheating a little as well. We keep moving our table that we're sat at. We keep moving it, just inching it further and further into the shade. So
what are we looking at for temperature right now? Looking at just 95. No big deal.
Just 95 degrees. And we're under a little bit of shade. So you can imagine what it's like for the archers who, you could say, well, they've been in the shade for the last couple of hours. No, they've had to be out on the field practicing.
They've been
practicing
yes.
down on the field as they get ready for their gold medal matches. And they've moved the targets back to the 70-meter mark. Catalina and Alex. Catalina's had a wonderful season on the World Cup stage with the World Cup team, with Jenny and Casey. I think they've done gold, silver, bronze, 3 out of the 4 USAT series events in the team stage. And Alex has been in a few, I think 2, if memory serves me right, 2 USAT series gold medal matches this year. So again, somebody who's in fine form. And these two will be looking to put on something of a show when we get the Recurve women to the stage. And Catalina, the national champion, crowned yesterday, comes in as the number 1 seed, and Alex Oleta-Vissa, the number 6 seed. The bronze going to Olivia Martin. And we talk about others. Olivia Martin, the number 2 seed. Olivia has had a wonderful year in 2025.
Yes, both. I mean, Olivia coming on strong during our World Championship trials, just barely getting edged out by the team of Casey, Jenny, and Catalina going off to Korea, as you mentioned earlier. And then Alex right now has really been putting in the work, and she's been on the World Cup team, and it's been really, really positive to see them here.
And there's some experience, again, in the coach's corner. Mark Hainline and Dick Tone.
And shooting first, Catalina Gnoriega. And on target 2, Alexandria.
Yeah, both coaches, again, just very respected archers who have been on this field. You see a trend of it's not really important who's in the box as long as they're calm and they're confident. That will ooze into your technique and your performance, hopefully. And you just feel that calming wave with you, just having a friend in the box more than a coach. Mark shoots at the center with us as well a lot, so he's definitely great.
And he's such a cool character, isn't he? He's so cool.
He himself, has been a resident athlete at the training center way back in the day. Him and Justin Hewish are 2 buddies going through, and Mark still just being a part of the team is great to see.
Picked up a silver in the 50-plus recurve men. Came walking over earlier and congratulated him. He said, it's not the colour I wanted. It's not the colour I wanted, but I stuck it out.
Mark definitely is wanting to keep going for gold. He's a competitor at heart. He really is.
Catalina starting strong with a 10. 9 for Alex to get her underway. As you mentioned, Catalina will be in Korea next month with Jenny and Casey. Hopes incredibly high for those 3.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that women's team so far in the World Cup has definitely been performing well. So I think all 3 of them have high hopes for World Championships. And I mean, it's been the best performing women's team we've had in a very long time. So definitely getting a World Championship medal, I think, is at the top of all of their lists, and to really bring home the gold for Team USA.
27 for Catalina. 27 for Alex, I believe. I'm just wondering, because you will have heard, clearly you wouldn't have seen, because it's probably still at a couple of thousand feet. We're right in the flight path for Springfield Airport. So that was coming over right over the top of Catalina just as she was firing down that 3rd arrow, which landed as an 8. I'm just wondering whether we spoke earlier about distractions. That's one that's come out from the south, and maybe is a little bit of extra decibels that you're not expecting.
I think, honestly, I don't think that would shake them at all. We train, all the time, and when we're training, we get random little things here and there, whether it be a golf cart going by, or like you said earlier, an alarm going off or a horn honking from a car.
Do you create some of that? Can you create that situation? Can you, without the archer knowing, whether it's banging it in or making a sudden noise that is there to just be that distraction and see how the archer copes?
In the way of distraction training, we could do that. I think something that I've really tried to focus on, and I think we all kind of do to each other, is just mess around with each other, try to break each other, make goofy noises, say some jokes while they're shooting, just to, if you could focus through somebody messing with you, getting you to laugh, teasing you a little bit, then you can definitely carry that on into something like this where, a plane going over, something like that might not be the biggest deal anymore. But at the end of the day, if you're right about to click and somebody honks a horn, you're going to mess up. It's kind of like yelling something in the golfer's backstroke. You can train for it, but it will flinch you.
Catalina starting with a 10 again, as she did with the first set. Alex with an 8. 1-1 after the first end.
Catalina applying that pressure. You see a little longer hold from her, but she definitely executed well.
Deep intake of air there for Catalina.
Yeah, Catalina's definitely thinking, one more. She's got a good lead in the last arrow, just kind of don't mess it up. Trust your shot, trust your process, which she does there, and
10.
that was a great 30 from
Wow.
Catalina.
Wonderful stuff from Catalina.
Yeah, when you're up like that, you can really just take a breath, like you saw her do, and just rely on, close enough. It's playing the odds. It's not a cumulative game where it's still like set system like Barebow is, unlike the cumulative compound. So, you can kind of close the door, relax, and then reset. And then Alex herself, that last arrow didn't matter realistically. So it's okay. Read the wind, make a good shot, carry on. Try to learn as much as you can, so then your next arrow can be a 10, because Alex can very quickly swing it around here.
And still smiling is Alex. So trying to keep things upbeat is Mark Hainline.
You can see both of them just sitting there, giving little words of wisdom, giving them, whatever they're needing in that moment. And that's the mark of a good coach, is just somebody who knows the athlete first. Is this an athlete that wants to be nitpicked on the line and, oh, your little finger came out on here and that's why you shot a 9? Or is it just, yep, good strong shot, something that Chris does, and I guarantee we're going to hear in next match is Chris just a nice, demanding, yep. And that's kind of his trademark. I think the entire archery world knows that Chris is just a yup. And it works. It's confident, boosting, and continuing a good flow.
3-1 lead then, but that can soon change, soon turn around. Alex will need a strong start. Catalina went 10-10-10.
Yep, that's that 10 I was talking about. Alex kind of had a sacrifice arrow there. Yeah, a 7. She learned something from it, so she can come back and put a 10 in there.
Going very strong. That is 4 10s in a row for Catalina.
The wind got her on that one. You can see that wind just off the right to left, and Alex missing left 8. I mean, it's just got away from her a little bit.
10.
And now this is where we do something fun ourselves. So not so much the same, because we're not doing a qualification round, but something we like to do if we're 6 arrows or 5 arrows in, your last arrow 10, that's a 60. So we would normally call this for fun. So I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure and see if Catalina can get a imaginary 60 split up by one end in between. She
Wow.
does.
Wow.
That is a 60 right there. That we
Great
would
stuff
say.
from Catalina to take a 5-1 lead. Really is in the zone. I mean, have you seen a shift with Catalina over the last year, the last 18 months? Because she just seems to be far more composed, so far more mentally strong as well in those big moments, those potential pressure moments.
In the last 18 months, yes, but I mean, I think overall, just over our lives, she and I went out to the center at very similar times. I've known Catalina since I was 17, 18, and she lived at this training center before with me when it used to be Coach Lee as our head coach, and improving and stuff like that. Youth Olympics that she went to, and every single tournament she's learned, and all accumulating to the Paris trials, and she and that team really carried it on through the Paris Olympics. And she, in Tokyo, she was the alternate, and I think that just fueled her more to carry it on through the Paris trials. And ever since the Paris Olympics, it's just been a non-stop success for Catalina, which has been great.
We just saw arrows being returned to the archers by Diana LeBeau, her husband Terry. He's been a judge around the archery scene for many, many years. This tournament here, the Target Nationals and US Open, the last for Terry. After 46 years, a phenomenal servant to the game, and he will be much missed. 83 years of age, and he'll be a figure that many, many people within the archery community know. So hats off to Terry. Wonderful servant, wonderful to see him. He's always got a kind word and words of wisdom, and we were in the centre a few days ago, and it was a little social kickoff, and there was a little quiz going on, and he stepped forward and he started to throw out his own historical questions nobody could answer, because of course he's been around the sport a long, long time. So I'm sure we'll continue to see him. I think he's going to still compete a little, but he's hung up his judge polo jersey after 46 years. So congratulations, Terry, and we look forward to seeing him out on the field again very, very soon.
Terry is the Aero agent judge down there right now. It's real inspiration from Terry, you know, seeing this 80-plus-year-old man moving the target stands at 95-degree heat. It is an amazing achievement. See if Catalina can close up the door here. And
yes, she can.
She does.
28-27, a 7-1 win for Catalina Gnoriega, and she becomes the US Open champion to go with the national champion. So a wonderful weekend for Catalina. Silver for Alex Zuleta-Visser, who's had a fantastic outdoor season within the USAT series, and then here at the Target Nationals and US Open, walking off with silver in the US Open. Catalina with double gold, and so strong there. She went 6 10s in a row in the second and third set. And after that first end was all tied at 27 apiece, Catalina just pressed on the gas for a 7-1 win.
You could see big hugs from everybody. They're competitors, and you know, winner and loser has just been named, but they're friends first, honestly. Like archery, we're a huge family here. We kind of know everybody, and it's really important to stay friends first, regardless. You know, Brady and I have battled back and forth a lot, but I still consider Brady like a big brother. He's mentored me and helped me in many ways.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that relationship in many divisions. You know, as everybody's a friend here, it makes it a lot more fun to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah, and, you know, you never know when you're going to be teammates. You never know when you're going to step on the line and need to call on that that teammate. So there is, of course, you want to do the best for yourself, but it is amazing where you see Sawyer, who'd lost in the semi-final of the compound, steps into the coach's box for the gold medal match, and he's helping somebody else in their attempt to win the gold medal, which he wanted.
Yeah.
So it is a fantastic sport, a wonderful community, and yes, they want to do the best by themselves, but they're also equally delighted for the successes of one another as well, which is very rare to see at this level of the game. In any other sport. So we are 5 down, 1 to go. The recurve men, the gold medal match. Brady Ellison, Jacob Robinson, and you got a 6-2 win over Trenton in the bronze medal match, but Brady got the better of you in your semi-final, and that must always be you've competed against each other so many times, and as you say, the key to success against Brady Ellison is a strong start and be the one to apply the pressure.
Yep. Brady and I, you know, we go way back, and like I was saying earlier, friends first, but when a win is on the line, you know, we both want to win equally, so tensions rise a little bit, but we're definitely very supportive. You know, Brady was, you know, congratulating me for the bronze immediately after, and you know, I'm here in a way supporting him just as much by still being here and, you know, watching him and cheering him on. We text regularly, and it's great to have that healthy balance that this sport brings.
Jacob Robinson with wins over Vic Wanderlei. Another name from the past, another great name from the archery world. And then Adam Het with a 6-4 win for Jacob in the quarterfinals. The semi-final win over Trenton Cowell, 6-0. Trenton will be heading to the World Championships next month with Christian and Brady as the men's trio in recurve. Catalina, Jenny Messino Fernandez and Casey Koffold will go for the women in the recurve. And Brady beating on the way. Got a win over Yi Chung Chang, 6-0. Quarterfinals, Zi Zhang Lin. And then the semis, as we mentioned, that win over Jack by 6 points to 2. So it'll be Brady getting us underway.
Brady, very established archer, you know, being on countless Olympic stages, indoor, outdoor, World Cup final stages, everywhere you can imagine. Brady's Brady has actually won every single tournament there is in archery, -1. And his drive for that is unlike any. You could see him, that Olympic gold medal is something that he is striving for so hard going into 2028. Home team advantage type of thing.
And it doesn't seem to have affected him. Because in other words, you can be trying too much for something and it impacts your game. But that is literally what is driving him. That is what is making him raise the bar more and more. I mean, we've seen just over the last year, if people have seen coverage last year, literally a different man, physically a different person.
You can see that wind is stumping him, but yeah, as you say, the different man. Brady has, I would assume, lost about 50, 60 pounds in the last couple of years. He's really taken into account his diet, exercise, shooting technique. He's been nonstop grind on fixing every little thing he can. After the Paris Olympics, he really broke things down, and now he's here. You know, family too. This is his livelihood, and he takes it very seriously. And you can see he's a little dumbfounded by that 8.98 that he shot. Still getting the win over Jake for that set because of Jake's 6, but just still trying to figure out what it is that's going on for him.
Do you look at his work ethic, and clearly, you know, the level that you're at, an extremely strong work ethic, but you look at him and almost obsessive in his approach, the age that he's at, the years that he's been at the very, very top. As you say, he's looking after his body, mentally, physically preparing well. Do you look at him and think, and I know you look at him as a role model, as so many archers do, even at the level that you're at. Where does that come from? That almost obsessive approach to just understanding the finer details and those margins that are going to make a great archer even better.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, Brady was, you know, winning everything, and so a huge role model to myself. Growing up, seeing him win everything, watching his videos, watching his technique. I'm sure many people listening right now do the same. They analyze what the top people are doing, and I would imagine I'm that person for some people. But, you know, just like you mentioned, Brady still is that person to me. I see how he acts, how he, you know, performs, how he attacks a situation. You know, he's, like I was mentioning about the wind, you can see him looking around. His head is on a swivel. He's staring down Jake's arrows, actually. You can see he's watching every little thing he can to see if Jake just missed left. So I bet Brady's going to play it safe, aim an extra ring to the right just to hit that 9 right, or maybe it drifts a little more in the 10. You can see that right 10, like I called. He played it safe, and it drifted just a bit over. You can see Jake overcorrecting a little bit on that right side. Brady going to follow up it, pick his same spot and go. Yep. See that? That 1 ring correction right there, you know, going from a right 10 to almost dead center spider.
I'm watching Brady. He gets his arrow in position very, very quickly, and then he's just fixed. He's looking down the lane. He's just, as you say, he's looking at any movement, any change of direction.
Yeah, he's taught me that, actually. You know, sometimes I would sit down, you know, during a qualification round and just kind of try to calm the nerves, try to gel out a bit, go on Instagram, just scroll, you know, try to keep my mind off of if I'm doing well, like, you know, keep the pressure down. And Brady's like, you got to be watching. You know, Brady sits there, and we do tune out a little bit, you know, in between the A, B, C, D line, you know, go on your phone a little bit. But he's like, no, you got to, if you feel that wind, and if it's being confusing wind day, you look and you see, okay, you know, you look for your people that you can trust, you know, that are of a certain level. Like if Brady and I are sitting down and Trenton and Christian are up on the line, we'll be watching their arrows to see, okay, did one of these guys mess up? You know, did Trenton miss all his arrows left? And, you know, a little breeze. And you take those little things in here and there to, all right, let me maybe aim a little bit more right, like Brady did to Jake's arrows.
And there's not many other sports. I'm maybe thinking maybe golf is the other one. If you've got a similar putt, you might have a little look behind the line of the other guy going in, seeing where their putt rolls. And that's kind of there's very few sports where you can look at your opponent and get a steer on where your arrow may land. But as you say, Brady is using every opportunity. So I suspect going second in that situation is the advantage.
It is in a way, you know. Going second, you have to close the door, type of thing. You know, you will absolutely get handed a position where it's a 10-2 tie, 10 to stay alive, and you have to be able to, in that moment, you know, fall back on your technique and hit a 10 when you need to. You can't waver under that pressure, but in the right circumstances, it can help. You see that right 8, Brady's just going to be like, okay, well, maybe that shot, for whatever reason, not as much wind, he'll go incorrect.
8.
That was one thing that I learned on the World Cup stage. Very first year, Steve Weiler and I, very accomplished shooter from the Netherlands, he and I were in a 1 arrow shoot-off first match, and you know, I was a new kid on the scene. I go up and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a good strong shot. I'm going to shoot first. And it was a left 7. And Steve went and said, thank you for showing me exactly where to aim.
Wow.
And that was a lesson that I still have not forgotten.
9.
Not phenomenal shooting from Brady here. Then you can see him just sitting there
I think it's a
questioning.
5-1, is it now? I'm looking at my math.
It is
8-9-9, 9-8-9.
But neither one of them are happy with the 26. So they're trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Brady has 2 arrows on top of each other, so he made a good shot. Just trying to read what is going on right now.
Both having a long look.
Yeah, you can see Jake and Chris talking. Chris is talking about the flag right now, kind of motioning with his arm, like if you see it doing this versus this, you know, you got to correct. Like you said earlier about when do you make that switch? You're at full draw, you feel the wind push you a little bit, or you feel the wind die. Like, hey, you need to, on the drop of a pin, make a correction and trust it. And maybe you'll get it wrong, but hopefully you get it right.
Chris Webster chatting to Jacob Robinson, the number 6 seed, and Toya Ellison in the coach's corner for husband Brady, as he was for her gold medal match earlier today.
There is some validity to that helping Brady. You know, he's already been on this stage already. You know, he's seen how the flags work. Brady, I guarantee, was taking in that information from Toya.
Could be a double gold US Open for the Ellison family. Toya winning earlier against Tanya Galantine, 143-140 for the compound gold medal. 5-1 with Jake Robinson. Work to do. He starts strong with the X. Winner on the USAT scene a couple of years ago
10.
at SoCal U21 division was Jacob Robinson. Stepping up to the senior level the last couple of years, last year and 2025.
Yep. Jake is an archer who's newer to the scene. You know, is, as you said, U21 archer. Went out and moved out to work with Chris full-time in North Carolina. And he has been constantly improving, and Jake can definitely throw down when he needs to. He actually beat me in SoCal.
8.
8 right there is not... opens the door for Brady a little bit. Brady needs a 9 or an 8 to win here. And Brady gets it with a 30. Brady figured it out. You can
There we go. And so it is a double gold for the Ellison family in the US Open, and a double gold for Brady Ellison, national champion after 2 days of competition, Friday, Saturday, and US Open champion this afternoon to wrap up proceedings. And I think I was looking at the stats, 17 out of 19 I think he's won as national champions, Brady Ellison, going back to 2007.
Yep.
It's a heck of a record.
The national championship title is a qualification round. You know, this is the U.S. Open, which is the match is part of that qualification round. And Brady is definitely a very strong qualifier, and he's constantly on the top of the qualifying.
Confirmation there. The winner
Ladies and gentlemen, that
is
concludes
Brady
our
Ellison.
Recurve men's division.
US Open champion for 2025. Those are the 6 matches. Toya Ellison, Stefan Hansen, Ellie Howe. We had then a win for Jeremiah Jones, Catalina Gnoriega and Brady Ellison wrapping up the gold medals for the US Open on this Sunday after great competition. And just your final thoughts as we look back, and knowing that we will be back here next year for the 2026 edition. What have you learned about conditions? Maybe not pack as many layers for next year.
Yeah, definitely. If it's at the same time of year, you know, anybody that's going to be coming out next year, like, pack cool clothes, definitely have, you know, plenty of sunscreen, plenty of water is something that I've learned. It's hot here, and that definitely plays a huge role in how we as competitors perform today.
What a great facility here at the Betty and Bobby Allison Sports Town in Springfield, Missouri. That is all we've got time for on this Sunday afternoon. Our thanks to the archers, the officials, the staff, the volunteers, and to Jack Williams for sitting alongside us this afternoon. And next coverage will be the Hotel Planner Collegiate 3D Nationals. That's in Foley, Alabama, October the 2nd to the 4th. We will have the mixed equipment team rounds, which are always a little lively and a great deal of fun. That'll be on the evening of October 4th, live on USA Archery's YouTube. From us all in Springfield, Missouri, on a warm, sunny afternoon. Until next time, bye for now.